For all the torment and unprecedented upheaval every Australian has endured in 2020, we should also be mightily proud of the way we've coped. In decades to come, this year will be remembered as a defining time for the nation. Now, cast your minds back to January. It probably feels like a lifetime ago. But much of the country was on fire and heroic battles were raging to protect lives and property. Not surprisingly, few of us paid much attention to early reports of a mysterious form of pneumonia striking people down in Wuhan, China. But as the virus, known as COVID-19, rapidly spread, so did the numbers of sick and dying. Soon, the world was confronting a pandemic, and what was once Hollywood fiction became a terrifying reality.
For so many of us, it's been a dark, uncertain, and lonely time. A year when this pandemic threatened to stop the music for all humanity.
This is the worst public health crisis for a generation.
As people fell sick, then started dying in their thousands, cities became ghost towns.
We're currently 2 or 3 months in to something we haven't seen before.
And COVID-19 brought out the best in us and the worst. There were brawls over toilet paper.
No, not one bag.
And riots about face masks. The fear and confusion got so bad, it seemed the very future of civilization was at risk. But no one could say we hadn't been warned.
The wildlife markets, those are breeding grounds for this happening. Those are ticking time bombs. I mean, we had HIV, we had Ebola, we had SARS, we had MERS, we had bird flu. Now we got COVID-19. I mean, ISIS could have never inflicted this amount of damage in less than a year.
In March this year, anti-trafficking campaigner Stephen Galster and I went undercover at the notorious Chatachuk market in Bangkok to see how seriously Thailand's authorities were taking the threat that coronavirus had so dramatically exposed.
I think of this place as a torture chamber and a filthy laboratory all mixed into one.
It was extraordinarily sad to see this menagerie trapped in cages and glass boxes. Everything from Australian cockatoos, even blue-tongued lizards, to African meerkats, European ferrets, rare tortoises and snakes. These animals are never together in the wild and so are vulnerable to viruses carried by each other. In these terrible conditions, those viruses can pass to the humans who handle them. The experts accept COVID-19 started in a wet market like this one. So unless they are shut down, it's feared the next global pandemic could begin in one of these cages.
This is just incredible. You know, African cats, snakes, you've got monkeys, primates, in the same confined space. Has no one told these people that this is where the other viruses came from?
Well, we have, and we've told them this is Wuhan in the making, #2, and so we're asking them to shut it down because it's a prescription for disaster. All within this small, hot room, ready to infect somebody.
That is amazing. I've seen it all now.
Yeah.
Australia recorded its first case of coronavirus on January 25, but didn't register any deaths until March the 1st. It was hoped this pandemic would pass by our island fortress. But this optimism lasted only as long as it took for the Ruby Princess to pull into Sydney Harbour on March 19. In just a few short weeks, the invisible and deadly passenger on board, coronavirus, had turned the Ruby Princess, indeed all cruise ships, into vessels wanted by no one.
They need to leave and go to their own countries.
It's not fair on us.
But it was too late. Thanks to a quarantine debacle, COVID-19 flooded our shores.
I'm so lethargic, pain in the eye, like somebody's poking me in the eye, the coughing fits, you know, the sore lungs. I've had days where my skin feels like it's sunburnt. I can't touch it. My head is so sore, it's like somebody's pulled my hair.
When we first met Gary Callaghan in April, he was dreadfully sick, stuck inside his home on the New South Wales mid-north coast. It would take months before he started feeling better. And thanks to his wife Kerry's meticulous cleaning and keeping her distance, she remained virus-free. The Callaghans were some of the now infamous 2,700 passengers who were hurried off the Ruby Princess cruise ship, unbelievably, without being tested by health officials.
Everybody on that ship was allowed to disembark without any test whatsoever.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you find that staggering?
Now, yes.
It's crazy. Well, I thought we would have been given a mask, some plastic gloves, go through the quarantine checking, you know, get your temperature checked, but everyone was left to their own device.
Yep.
It's estimated over 900 people became infected from the Ruby Princess quarantine debacle, and the reputation of the cruise industry will take years to recover. Some hard truths have been learned during this pandemic.
So this is still going on.
But perhaps the most important lesson has already been forgotten.
After we publicly exposed those markets and the illegal trade that was going on there, what happened?
Well, shortly after the 60 Minutes piece aired, that came back to Thailand, went viral. Within days, there was a government team over in the market checking all the stalls to see if their animals were registered. And then they had a team come in big white garb, spraying down the place to make sure there was no COVID-19 there.
So did those authorities close them down? Was that trade extinguished for a little while at least?
And then the next step was the government just shut the market down.
So we were successful in having them closed down.
We were successful in closing it down. Unfortunately, they've reopened.
The trade in wild animals is worth many billions of dollars.
Why? Why?
What worries campaigners like Stephen Galster is that the money is talking, and international resolve to end this cruelty is dissipating, with dire consequences.
We need to ban the commercial trade in wild animals just the same way we banned slavery. I mean, there's people making money off slavery in the past. We still stopped it. And that's the point of history we're at right now with wildlife trade. If we don't do that, we're definitely going to have another pandemic, and it could be much worse than this one.
Hello, I'm Liam Bartlett. Thanks for watching. To keep up with the latest from 60 Minutes Australia, make sure you subscribe to our channel. You can also download the 9Now app for full episodes and other exclusive 60 Minutes content.